Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Thanks so much for joining me today. Got a lot to talk about today. We're actually going to talk about the fact that the futures are up again this morning. So we have the big battle right now. We're going to break down what type of trading we can expect for this week. We have the Fed, and we're probably going to hear the word tapering about 1 million times this week. And then we have good earnings that have been coming out, and we're going to actually break those earnings down into price action in the Fang stocks and whether or not we should even be calling them Fang stocks today. So we got a lot to talk about. We're actually going to cover the top 3 stocks in our sector rotation sheet this week, and we're going to break down which stocks to be looking to buy at all-time highs. So stick around. We have a ton of stuff to talk about today. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. As with everything that we talk about, this is all for educational purposes. It's up to you to make that final decision. It's up to me to help you make better decisions. So actually, it's interesting. We got a bunch of people coming in from across the world today, which is kind of cool. Ian Murphy looks like he's somebody new today. Who's this? 5:30 in the morning. E. Rubio, 5:30. Where are you calling from at 5:30 in the morning? That's a big difference in time zone. Let's see. I want to say this right. Alchemical Pranabody. Good morning. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hey, Simon, what's going on? How you doing in the UK? What else? We're going to talk about Fang today, whether or not they should be called Fang or not. Good morning, Pam Hicks. How are you? Always a hard worker. Joseph, yep, CHPT. We've been on that one for about a week or so. Joseph, I don't know if you saw it or not. I answered your question in the forum in reference to the that ETF that you had posted in there. Let's see. Ian Murphy, good morning. Brian O'Shea, how are you, pal? What's going on? Bill W., always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here every day. Kenton Kirkpatrick. Kenton, I used to teach a lot of classes out in Ireland, actually. And your name is reminding me of somebody who was our partner out in Ireland. His name was Micheál O'Cronin. And he was actually a rugby player, a professional rugby player out there. He was a really, really good guy, really good guy. Micheál O'Cronin. He actually taught me how to drink a pint in Ireland. I don't know. That's about as true of an Irish experience as you can get. Weldon, good morning, pal. How's it going? John A., good morning. Abe, how are you? How are you? All right. And let's see. All right, John, good morning. All right, so we're going to get right into it. I want to talk quickly. We're going to hop right over into some news. Obviously, the futures are up right now. Earnings have been amazing. And the market, as you can see here, we were up 20 at one point, so we're still kind of hanging out there. We're going to push this over into what we're seeing in the market and how we're going to actually be looking to buy some stocks at all-time highs again. We actually had what we finally call confirmation, where the SPY actually finally made new highs. The NASDAQ caught up, and the Dow has caught up. So now we have all 3 indices pointing in the same direction. And if you're not a student of some of the really older stuff in the market, Dow Theory states that when the indices are all confirming each other, we can expect follow through. A lot more going on behind the scenes. Originally, Dow Theory was built around the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Transportation Index way back in the day by Charles Dow. Now we're actually talking about where I've kind of updated it to the way that I use it, and we're looking at the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P 500. So we have confirmation. We have good earnings. We're going to look at the price action at all-time highs in the market in the Fang stocks, and we're actually going to do that right now, and whether or not we should actually still be calling them Fang stocks. And then we're actually going to break it down. We're going to take a look here, as you know we do every day, consumer cyclical, communication services, and technology stocks. And we're actually going to go just a little bit deeper into healthcare stocks to find some ideas that we're going to be watching for today. So we're going to start out. We're actually going to head into some news, actually. We're going to go right into some ideas for today. Obviously, we're talking about fresh earnings. Earnings were great last week, but this is the big topic of conversation heading into the week, which is tapering, which is quantitative easing. Now, here's the thing. We already know they're going to do it. Jerome Powell's mentioned it about 1,000 times already. It's not a question of if. He's also mentioned the fact that he's doing it before the end of the year. Well, announcement this week, already said he's going to do it. I mean, I think all signs are pointing to the fact that it's happening now, soon, this week, maybe even. So how do you prep for that? How do you actually get ready to buy stocks while stocks are sitting at all-time highs? Which stocks do you get involved with? And we've already talked about where I'm going to be focusing this week, which is on these top 3 sectors here. You might want to take a screenshot of that so you can go in there and do a little bit deeper stuff. So then we're going to break that down into some ideas for this week. Now, here's the big thing that I want to get across to everybody for this week. The market and October specifically. And I challenged everybody. We had our weekly swing trader review session last night. We have our bootcamp weekly coaching call tonight. If you want to get on those coaching calls, click the link below the video. The next one is 6 p.m. this evening. Goldmine, usually at least 90 minutes. Here's the thing, though. I'm pretty positive, right? We talk about all the things that we want to have happen in the market, and, good job, way to go. September was tough. So looking at the last 2 months, September was a challenging month to trade. We pretty much trended down, mostly bearish price action for September. There was a lot of indecision in the market. October was the complete opposite of that. October was really, really good to trade. Day trading and swing trading, there were opportunities on both sides of those types of trading opportunities. So I'm going to challenge you right now, and this is what I did in a big way over the weekend with the members of the boot camp and inside of our swing trade community, is if you did not have a good October, something's missing. You have to really look in the mirror and ask yourself, what am I missing that I didn't see all of this awesome price action unfold, and why did I not earn more during October? Now, here's the big thing. September was mostly managing risk. October was awesome. Now, we're heading into the last 2 months of the year with quantitative easing, tapering, all starting to work its way off the table. We have good earnings, which means that the market for the last 2 months of the year has a pretty good chance of kind of being choppy to sideways, which means that we really need to drill down into what we keep talking about here, which is this. We need to be on top of sector rotation and finding the ideas that are in play based on the sector. It doesn't matter what's going on in the bigger picture. We'll be able to find something that we can look to buy. I get a lot of questions about short selling, and the only reason to be short selling is if we're in a longer term bearish market. Just because the market or a couple of stocks are going down doesn't mean it's a good short selling opportunity. Look, I love to short sell as much as anybody else, but if the market's ripping to new all-time highs, why in the world would you be looking for stocks to short sell just because some stocks meet that criteria when everything and in the bigger picture is making new all-time highs? So remember, you got to really learn to adapt. Again, Finviz here today to situational analysis. I just love the way that sounds, where short selling is a valid strategy, but is it a valid strategy while the market's making all-time highs? Is it even worth looking at those ideas? And the answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have easier trades where the market's making new all-time highs, and you have 1 or 2 stocks that are rolling over and in bearish markets. Don't fight the tape. If the tape is obvious and all that money is going in one direction, trade with the order flow. There's no reason to bottom pick. There's no reason to be looking for the 1 or 2 stocks that are rolling over. So again, as the market is unfolding, I think that with the bigger picture of the market, it's probably going to be back and forth a little bit. But this is where the opportunity is going to be. This is where the money is going to be. We have to remember, we keep talking about the stock market power pyramid. The bottom part is what we just said, what I'm expecting to be a little bit choppier, a little bit more non-directional for November and December, which is the NASDAQ, the SPY, and the S&P. One step higher than that, we go to sectors, what we just looked at. Then above that, we're going to dive into some hotter industry groups looking for ideas. We are going to find the order flow. It's just a question of where. Now, if it's ideas that we don't normally trade, that's fine. We just pull back our initial share size and look for some feedback before we start to add. So first thing we're going to talk about today is the Fang stocks and how that's going to affect buying stocks at all-time highs. So essentially, we're looking over here. A lot of people now, because of Facebook being turned into Meta, people are saying instead of it being Fang, we're going to call it Manja. So Manga instead of Fang. So Meta, and then they reworded everything. I kind of like that. I'm Italian, so I'm okay with calling it Manja. So we'll see what ends up happening. But more importantly, whatever it ends up being called, I kind of like Manja. I think that's going to be what we need to now focus on is those Manja stocks and whether or not they are showing some good price action. We know that Apple initially did not have good earnings when Apple reported. Amazon did not officially quickly have good earnings. Both of them reversed pretty hard, and they're actually trading up again now. Facebook has gotten beat up quite a bit. Meta, whatever you want to call it at this particular moment. Right now, it's Facebook stock. And that also has bottoming potential right now. Google is actually trading near all-time highs. Netflix actually reversed pretty good as well. So I want to take a look at those manja stocks right now and see whether or not that's going to influence the bigger picture while other stocks are at all-time highs. Then we're going to break down those top 4 sector groups and to find some ideas that we can also be buying those stocks. Which are the best stocks to pick to buy right now while we're at all-time highs? All right, so let's take a look at that. Let's see. October was great. Awesome. That's what October should have been. That should have been the result based on the price action that we had. All right. So we're going to break that down. We're going to go into some of those stocks. I'm actually going to come off the screen. So we're going to take a look here. All right. So we all know that Fang, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, and now they're calling it manja. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start to break those down. So let's actually start out with Facebook and whether or not it's an opportunity. Facebook bearish order flow. This is obviously what was going on. Earnings actually were pretty good over here until the whistleblower type stuff, until the market type stuff. So really right now, for me personally, I like the fact that it's bottoming out. I like the fact that it broke down and bounced back quickly. I like the fact that it went well bid on good volume. I like the fact that the weekly chart traded into what we call a bullish U-turn, where it traded below, came back. So this bearish 5 or 6 weeks of trading kind of snapped back. So what we're looking for now, for me personally, to start to get a little bit more aggressive, I need to see Facebook start to trade above 330. Now, here's the big thing about what we're about to cover. And this is a really big part of trading and really getting to that next level where you see your account start to go like this, higher and higher and higher every single month with predictability, is you need to script out your success. You need to script out what you expect to have happen. It's 7:40 in the morning on Monday, and we're scripting out what we expect to have happen the entire week. That's what professional trading is. If you're just waiting for the market to open and being lazy and running one scan, running 5 minutes worth of news across your head and saying, okay, now I'm going to make some pretty good decisions, that's not the way it works. You want to make more, you got to dig deeper roots. And deeper roots means you got to do a little bit of game planning and script it out. So first, starting out, all-time highs, the market up there. I need Facebook to get above 330. Okay. Apple. We're going to go right through the Fang stocks. Apple. Well bid on the weekly chart, reversed pretty well after earnings, good volume after earnings, trading about a quarter lower. So what do we need here now? We need to see the week go well bid. And in this case here, I want to see this stock. It has to get all the way up here. And I'll tell you why. We've bought this bid at 150 quite a few times. And I'm just going to go back to the daily chart here. Okay. Breakout, 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 broke out, it came back hard. Now broke out again, it came back hard. I'm not going to buy the 150. The 150 in Apple right now is a trap. I feel like what was that Star Wars? It's a trap. Every time it gets up to 150, it's been pulling back, getting up to 150 and pulling back. I need to see energy candlesticks above 150 and more than one of them. So 150 is the level. It's not that far away. It's only 42 cents away. But one day of being above 150 is not enough for me right now. So I need to see 2 well bid closes above 150 that close near the high on good volume in Apple. Well bid means higher highs and higher lows above that level. So that's the price action we're looking for Apple while the stock market's at new all-time highs. So let's work our way over to Netflix, which had a really, really good month of October. And you can see here again, push and a pause, a push and a pause, a push and a pause, and a push again. And it's up a little bit right now. So Netflix actually performing very well with the rest of the market. So this one still looks perfect. All right. Let's work our way over to Amazon. I skipped over Amazon. Amazon to me right now, we all know that Jeff Bezos has stepped down. Somebody else is in charge of the company right now. And the stock to me right now has not moved for a year. I do not see an opportunity in Apple right now unless we get above that 3,520 level and stay there for more than a couple of weeks. I think there's better ideas to allocate money to right now than Amazon. It hasn't moved in a year. What we call the right price right now. So I'm not looking to do anything in Amazon right now other than maybe some shorter term trades. All right. So moving our way over into the last one, Google actually performing well with the rest of the market. So this one looks pretty clean. Friday actually traded into a breakout after a one-day consolidation, went well bid, closed on the highs, and you can see it's actually trading higher. So the Fang stocks are either at or near all-time highs or reversing downtrends or at breakout levels that need to hold. So they're actually kind of in play right now. For as bad as Facebook got beat up over the last, let's say, 6 weeks, it's starting to hold that bid a little bit. So we might start to see that the worst of the bad news just might be priced into the Facebook stocks. So we're going to see. So that's the Fang stocks, whether you want to call them Fang. I like Manja. It kind of sounds pretty good. Meta replacing the F in Manja. So now we're going to work our way over into healthcare stocks, which was actually number 4 on our sector rotation sheet, and working our way over here because a couple of them actually traded pretty well. So we're going to actually take a look first at Merck. And again, we're looking for ideas to be trading at or near all-time highs. So Merck actually looks pretty good. UNH probably had the trade of the last 2 weeks where earnings came out here, paused for 3 days after this earnings bullish gap, and then just exploded to the upside for roughly $30, almost $40. So Merck, UNH, and Eli Lilly are at the top of my list in healthcare. What we're going to do now is we're going to work our way to the top with consumer cyclical. Now, this is something that we brought up last week, which is critically important. There's 3 stages. First, you need to develop your edge, which means what you're looking for in the charts, right? Where are stocks performing in a way that order flow is obvious, and then you read the tape to determine your entry. So pick a side, then pick a spot, right? That's the early stages of creating your game plan. So what we're talking about right now are stocks that meet the criteria of order flow, but then we have to break them down a little bit further to see if they're still tradable. If I accept the risk right now, how much room is there to go based on what it normally does? So we just listed off a few healthcare stocks that have been pretty strong. Now we're going to go to the top of the list here, which is the consumer cyclical. All right, so we're going to go into those stocks and see which ones are looking pretty good. Now, obviously, at the top of the list right now are 2, which is Lucid, which we're looking for this to catch a bid again after exploding through 28 on Thursday. And obviously Tesla, which traded through 1,100 and is up another $40 today. Just absolutely incredible opportunity. So again, I just want to remind you, we're breaking it down a little bit deeper now into sector rotation and sector strength over the last week or so of trading. And right now we're looking at some consumer cyclical stocks. All right. So LCID and Tesla. Now, one that's a little bit less obvious, but starting to trade a little bit better is QS. You can see earnings came out Friday, traded into some amazing price action. Now, QS, for a little bit of a better trade and to start working a trade, needs to get above this 31.50. So remember what we just said. There's a difference between a stock meeting the criteria, being in the right sector, maybe even breaking it down into the right industry group. QS matches that criteria, but it's a better trade with more room to go where you justify the risk because there's more reward. For me right now is above 31.55. So what I'd be doing is setting an alert for QS above 31.55. Now, one that quite a few people have been mentioning recently, and I'll give Lynn Ramirez in our community all the credit for that, is CHPT ChargePoint. The electric vehicle stocks are running pretty well right now over the last week or so, although NIO kind of paused a little bit. XPEV had news. We'll take a look at that in a second. But you can clearly see here now, ChargePoint, very clear pushes and pauses. I'm actually going to bring this out so you can see it because it's a big part of what we talk about all the time. Finally broke this downtrend, a push and a pause, a push and a pause, a push and a pause, and another push. Maybe got a little bit of resistance here at 26, which is about another 80 cents away. And then after that, we're looking at another $10 through there. So CHPT is on my list. Another stock that I haven't traded in a while, but absolutely you can see here how we broke the downtrend. Chewy. Chewy actually had a nice, really clean reversal, breaking above 66.50 in that area, followed by a pause, followed by 2 amazing days. So what's the big thing here? Get this question all the time. When do you trade the change of trend? Right in this area here, it's potential change of trend. And it really comes down to as soon as it breaks. In this case here, we got a much cleaner move where it broke, paused, and then took off. So Chewy has worked its way back into my list. We keep mentioning Bros, BROS, unbelievable IPO, having some good follow-through again on Friday. And XPEV, which we just mentioned, they came out with some good numbers on deliveries again year over year. And you can see now that we paused. It's what a lot of people would call a nice pennant flag, whichever phraseology you like, whatever charting pattern you like. Either way, it's paused, and now it's up off of some good news. Now, the thing with XPEV, and this is based on a little bit of experience of trading these stocks, they tend to report and then sell off. NIO does it when NIO has earnings, NIO day, they report deliveries. You got to pay attention to the price action prior to that. So this news on deliveries in XPEV year over year is good, right? It's positive. However, we still need to see the tape confirm that whether or not that news is priced in already. And now the stock rallied for the entire month of October, which you can see here, right? And then the news came out. So we have to really be on top of our game right now. Remember what I showed you before about some of the other stocks and the weekly charts. So whatever happens on XPEV today with the higher open, right now it's up over 4% pre-market. It needs to hold today's opening price for the week in order to have conviction on holding the longer term swing trade. So again, we're scripting out what we expect to have happen 2 hours before the market opens, hour and 10 minutes before the market opens. That's how you elevate your game. Look, it's a new month. The new month just started. If you struggled during October, click that link below and learn about the boot camp. It's 30 days of a lot more detail than we're doing right now. All right. So XPEV is on that list as well. We had a swing in NEO last week. We kicked it out. It wasn't performing well, and I'm actually glad I did. And that's actually where you're reading the tape, and reading the tape comes in. We actually got long over here. There was a Goldman Sachs upgrade at 50, burst through here, did not follow through. So we actually got out with a profit on the trade, and now you can see it's actually breaking down. So that's a big part of trading too. What do I want to see? What don't I want to see? When you start to see what you're looking for, you size up, or you just hold and you work your profit maximizer up. If what you want to see does not happen, there's nothing wrong with either scaling back, getting out, and putting that money back into something else, because there's so much opportunity right now. Don't get stuck being pig-headed on a trade that's not working out or not performing when there's so much opportunity right now. It's a big deal. Don't worry about what could have, should have, would have. Who cares? Whatever you have at that moment, whatever your best decision is, make it with confidence and then go right to the next trade. Don't hold on to previous trades. That you got to have a short memory. Go right to the next one and look for another opportunity. Got out of NEO last week. I don't care. I'm looking for new opportunities. So what we just talked about is a lot of ideas in consumer cyclical. All right. So now we're going to work our way over into some new ideas. We're going to drop down now into communication services. Not a lot of stocks that are in this area. There are a few that are strong. And I think specifically the one at the top of the list right now is Netflix, as we mentioned before. Netflix has just had an absolutely amazing last 3 months. And it doesn't matter if you go to the weekly chart, look at that price action, just really, really clean. Once it finally got out of what was basically similar to what we're looking at Amazon right now, and actually looking to see the market punch through. Let me see. Let me just answer this question by John. Is there a way to find which stocks are moving in pre-market? Sure. There's a ton of scanners that you can pull up. There's plenty of them. I mean, the obvious one is to log into your trading software. That's the easiest way to do it. But there's a ton of applications that you can get that will tell you that as well. So anyway, Netflix we're going right over here again, just to be super clear. We're working on communication services. Netflix at the top of the list. Zillow is not a bullish picture yet. However, we are absolutely starting to break this longer term downtrend right now. And you can see very fast move off the bottom. You can see that earnings here. So really good, solid move. So not a trade yet, but the next pause, which would confirm validation here, would be the next one. Again, we're looking at communication services. The other one that I'm keeping an eye on that's not a trade yet is an alert right now. I have an alert for 175 in Airbnb. And you can see here basically the same type of price action. And then we had a nice move past there for $20. So right now I have an alert set for 175. You want to go a little bit higher, that's fine. But I have it at 175. I want to know when it gets there before a potential breakout, because you got some room to go on the upside there as well. Some other ideas in that area. Those are really the only ones that I have that are interesting to me right now. You could make a case for starting to pay attention to ATVI or EA, or maybe even AMC and consumer cyclical, but nothing for me to do in any of those right now. I actually like the other ones as well. Let's see. Richard. Hey, Richard, good morning. Shop looks good. Daily volume has started. Weekly cup and handle, 60-minute push and pause. All right, let's take a look. Earnings last week, right? Okay, so from a longer term perspective, and I think we can see this super quickly on the weekly chart, is we are seeing a bunch of melted candles, right? We have nice price action here, but melted candle, really nice bounce back after earnings. So what I'd really be looking to do right now is I don't like to trade in an area where it can't get through. And if we have to take risk on this, if we're looking for an opportunity for a stock to move in our direction, we have to ask ourselves, where is the likely area that we can expect to earn some money. And you can see here, got up to this price, got shoved back, got above it, came right back again. So really this 1560 area is the level, which is a pretty good level. It's about $90 from where we are right now. So what am I looking at in shop right now? I'm looking at two different trades in shop. One trade with appropriate risk up to that 1560 level, a better trade with more room to go if it could finally go well bit above that level with some price action. Now, the weekly chart on shop has been kind of choppy. We're trading off of earnings. We got a good push off of earnings. That's a little bit of a shorter window, but I want to be clear right now. Shop does not have bullish order flow. It's been kind of dancing around and chopping up, down for the last couple of months, quite honestly. So if we take a look at and I want to really give you a hard visual to take a look at right now. So if you take a look at what shop looks like right now and the price action versus that stock, there's a very big difference in which stock you might choose to get involved with. So you need to be able to do that quickly to identify which ideas are the best ideas at that moment. So I'm not disagreeing with you, Richard, on shop. I actually think that it's actually trading pretty well now. But the bigger picture where we would lean in and look to build a position, not really that awesome. As a matter of fact, if we duplicate that, we're kind of stuck in a range right now. And you can see we had 2 weeks up, 2 weeks down, and now we're kind of right back in the middle of that range. So I think we have a trade from here to here, not aggressive one, a better trade above there. Plug was mentioned last week. We actually have an open position in Plug right now. So obviously I like Plug. It's got plenty of room. We finally broke this level here. We had some really good volatility here, and we saw some follow through. So we just discussed some ideas here in communication services. We already gave you some healthcare stocks. We talked about the Fang stocks. Now we're going to be looking for which stocks we should be looking to buy in the technology area at or near all-time highs. All right. So obviously ENPH exploded last week, which means now you need to break that down a little bit deeper into other stocks in this area. You can see it's actually up $4 more. So we know this is technology. We also know that this is solar stocks. So that means that we need to be looking at SPWR, RUN, JKS. Those are the primary ones that I'm looking at myself personally. So that's the group that you need to look. But obviously ENPH is at the top of that list right now. Nvidia, again, we're looking at tech stocks to buy at all-time highs. Nvidia reported bullish gap, paused for a couple of days, traded through again, up again this morning. All right. Something else that we're keeping an eye on, AEHR. You can see a really good pause after the stock just exploded. But here's the thing. We've been mentioning that 1 or 2 days is not enough to lean your hat on. Now the stock is actually rallying for several weeks into a couple of months. This is 4 months worth of price action. I normally don't get involved in stocks that are down in this area and then double or triple. This is 4 months worth of buying right now. So AEHR has made its way into my list. Obviously, sticking with the tech stocks, we're looking at Net, and we have been looking at Net for a while. Microsoft, good earnings, paused, broke out again, trading a little bit higher now. Coin exploded through 280, which was the big level that we had over here. Trading a little bit sideways now. I think Bitcoin's taking a little bit of a pause. Ruby, we just talked about Nvidia. Hopefully that covered that for you. By the way, Ruby, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Coin actually pausing a little bit, but again, we're sticking with which stocks are showing good, obvious order flow for a couple of weeks. And you can see what a month of October that Coin had. Working our way into another trade that we actually have open right now, which is Unity Software. You can see the levels here, pausing a little bit here for 2 weeks and has some room to go up to the 170, 175 area. So again, just to be super clear, we just went through healthcare, we went through consumer cyclicals, communication services, and now we're doing a little bit of a deep dive, making a list of stocks that is in the tech stocks. We gave up on, we were trading some basic material stocks last week, didn't really play out at all. We actually had NUE. We went through Alcoa. We've been watching STLD and X, and they just really have not provided any momentum. X gapped on earnings, but X has a monster wall at resistance at 29. So right now, I'm not involved in these basic material stocks. They just really haven't performed, quite honestly. They were in the game plan, didn't follow through, so I took them out of the game plan. So we're just going to focus on where the money is flowing right now. FSLY is another one. Okay, you can see that we actually broke this downtrend, pushed up, paused for almost 2 weeks. We need to get above 52 right now. AFRM is another one. BOCN. You see a theme here? I'm not fighting the tape. I am not looking for a bottom. I am only looking for stocks that are already displaying bullish order flow. DDOG, you getting the picture here? We're not fighting the tape. SNOW, all right? There are a lot of opportunities right now on the bullish side. So we just covered consumer cyclical, communication services, healthcare, and tech stocks. Probably just rattled off about 15 to 20 stocks to put into your game plan. Now, the reason I can't tell you exactly what to look at is because there's a lot of different members here, both on social media as well as in the boot camp, very different experience levels. So once we provide some ideas, some stocks to buy, some stocks to look at, then it's up to you to determine based on your risk tolerance, the size of your account, your experience level, which of those stocks meet your personal criteria. Maybe you might want to watch this once or twice because we covered the Fang Stocks and 4 different sectors and broke some ideas down into what are some of the top ideas of which stocks to buy while those sectors are strong, while the market is at all-time highs. All right. Let's see. Jason Miller looking at BBY. Yeah, it's actually got resistance coming up. I think right here, you can see we drew this out. If you go back a little bit more, all the way into last year, it's got to get above for me right now. I have a 124 alert set for BBY. So it's not a trade for me yet. You can see it got up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different times. BBY got up to 124 and couldn't get through this. So I have an alert set for 124 in BBY. All right. We have to head out of here, guys. We have a game plan meeting with the boot camp in a little bit. So I have to do some more final prep for that. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, thank you. I want you to know how grateful I am. We do this every morning at 7:30. Please do me a favor, smash that like button if we gave you some awesome content today. If you liked it, if you found it valuable, really more important, as well as hit that subscribe button. That would mean the world to me. It also tells me what kind of content you like. Don't forget, every morning, Monday through Friday, 7:30 in the morning, we're doing these calls. I'd really like to see you here because we work our tail off to help give you some good ideas. Sometimes it's education. Sometimes it is straight up stock picks, right? But here's the thing I want to leave you with today, all right? October was a good month to trade. There was money on the table to be made during October. Ask yourself, if you didn't make money, ask yourself why. If you didn't make enough, ask yourself why. Because one of the things we talk about in the boot camp, some days, and let's just use a day as an example. Some days, if you make $1,000, you need to understand if you should have made $3,000. Ask yourself if during October you should have made a lot more. Ask yourself what you did not see that held you down a little bit and how you could change that to have a much bigger month and the end of the year, quite frankly. I really believe the end of the year, we're going to be a lot more stock specific, sector specific, and industry group specific. So you need to keep coming back here and finding out which ideas are at the top of our list. If you want to take this a little further, click the link below the video and learn about the boot camp. I'd love to see you in there for the next 30 days or set yourself up for a big end of the year. All right. Have an awesome day, everybody. And I will speak to you soon. See you tomorrow morning, 7:30.